This is Justin AMZN on Monday, January 7th, 2019, with a look at the pre-market that is moving upward. Puts in a new high here, comes almost up to that or about up to that. Right here, possibly forming a double top if it pulls back. But because we're clearing Friday's high, this is a bullish retest gap. So we want to let it pull back and then get in, or if it rallies on up, look for a pivot point to actually ride it back down bearish, and then another pivot point to get out. So let's step into the day and see what happens. Very quickly, we've got a pullback and then a rally. So we get a little bit of both. The 1591 price, we've had this on here for a while, 1591.04. This was a really nice price to interact with. Had some interaction with the pre-market levels here, pausing with a small triangle and then pushing higher with the 5 exponential. Came right back into that level on the first 5 minute. It's possible to have a setup off of that, but it's always difficult on Monday. Well, I guess at any open, really, to know what exactly this low or this level's price is going to be, unless you're watching that low form and you just hit a market order and somehow you get filled in this range. Otherwise, a market could just fill up here. Or if you got a limit, maybe it doesn't come down quite as far. Maybe you got to type in the digit and then hit send. And it just takes a little bit longer. Excuse me. Takes a little bit longer for that to fill. So, we'll look for any more sort of a pullback to get in, and we'll just continue on with the day and see what else you could do. Inside candle, a slightly lower high and lower low, and then a candle that looks like it's breaking out. Now again, this being a bullish retest, this is a little too quick for me. Even Friday's candle, I mean, we had a bearish candle to open, and then we did this S curve and bounced really nicely and just rallied all day. But at least we had, 40 minutes or something of just this sideways, nothing really happening, kind of pulling back. This is 20 minutes and we're already way up here. So we're almost, the high here is 1616.98. We're almost to our 1617.54 price. Again, if there's an opportunity to be shorting it up here, getting into puts, it would be a great place to do it at a pivot. What we've seen on some of these levels where there's this set of 4 lines I've got on here, we'll hold the outer ones. And, that may be what happens right here, is that we're going to hold that level. We won't get through that, or we'll get barely through it and roll over from there. So let's see what the next candle holds. There we go. We start to pull back a little bit. So, this is another opportunity to have gotten in here and then ride this back and see, okay, we've definitely gotten through this one, obviously. Maybe we can get this far, maybe even this far. So let's see what the next candle holds. Oh, and by the way, there's a squeeze forming here, so there's some momentum building. Really small. This candle actually retests this line at 1607. The high here is 1606.86. So we're interacting with these levels. I didn't say it for the first 3 candles, but they're holding right below that line. And then this one breaks out. Now we get a retest, from below, and squeeze still there. Indecision, bearish engulfing indecision off that line. Okay, here we go. We pull back a little bit more. There we go. That's a great place. We're right near the low of the day. We're right near our 1591.04 price. The low here is actually 1590.27, so it overshot it a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things here, it's right on it. The next candle then, right in here, this would be a great place to take off some of those profits. We've pulled back a little bit more. We've retested this level. This candle is where I'd be looking to get in bullish. Again, just the interaction we have with 1591. It's a secondary retest of this line, of this pivot. And, now we're rallying on up. There we go. Moves right back on up into this level. Again, taking profits here, or, getting ready to take profits and, go bearish We did actually push through this line. We didn't have as much of a retest of this level. We more or less ignored the 1607 price here as we moved on up. Our squeeze has triggered way up here, but this is a really wide range to have a squeeze actually trigger on. So I'm not going to I'm going to discount the squeeze a little bit, thinking that this is pretty good move. It's if we're going to be range bound today, the squeeze isn't going to help me too much. It'll maybe push a little higher, but it's already had a decent move off that level, off of a retest, and it's going to move a little differently up here within these four, rather than how it moved in this range on Friday. I mean, we got into the lower range and then came out of it, and now we're up in the upper, 2/3 or so. Step into the next candle. We do actually have what looks like a breakout, indecision. This should come back a little bit. It's just kind of grinding higher. There you go. Now it starts to pull back. So this is another nice little S curve, smaller than the one we had yesterday. This could continue to rally, could bounce right here. But again, the move here is, this is a good place to be moving up a stop or taking profits if you haven't yet, because what we've done here is we've retested once to yesterday's high or Friday's high, retested a second time. Now we've actually broken out. We were retesting today's own high, early morning high, but there's no reason to say it's going to hold here. We actually held this one and held it again here. This one doesn't have to hold, So let's see what happens. Yep, pulled through. Okay, now we're bouncing. Yeah, so it's using that as, all right, so we pushed a little bit higher. Looks like it's a little bit of a neckline here if it were to make a double top, but doesn't have to do that. I mean, it retested, pulled back a little bit further through, came back to this bearish candle just about there. So ignoring the wick, I guess, is actually where it retested to. And then bounced and made a new high in the day. So let's see up here. These highs are pretty close. Oops. Off by 7 cents. So those are tweezer-ish tops. I'm looking for reasons to be out of the trade. There you go. That's a nice little bounce here. The lows here. Oops. Let's see. These lows. It looks like it's lower. It's off by 65 cents or 67 cents. Seems like it's a little closer than that. Anyway, some smaller candles, indecision candle, really, really small. I got a squeeze for me again. I would kind of expect this one to pull back some more, just because we're going to squeeze. We lost a lot of bullish momentum. This looks like a bit of a triangle here. It just seems kind of too good to be true to keep moving. These are really, really small candles. This is like people waiting for an announcement or something. There's not much trading going on. These are really tiny. Wow. Okay. This is definitely holding the 21. This is just really interesting how small this is. I didn't expect to have such tiny candles today like this. So, this looks like it's going to keep me. Yeah, it broke out. Okay. Broke out, pull back. See if we pull back. And yep, there we go. Nice hammer off of this level. Now we've retested this a second time, just like we retested 1591 a second time. The low here. Yeah, so our line is 1617.54. The low is 1617.39. So that's off by just 15 cents. So that's another nice place. Some people probably got stopped out. They were taking this breakout, had their stop right here, and they just got stopped out by this candle. But I mean, this makes more sense to buy at this level, especially because it came right into the pivot here. And barely staying above it. Oh, don't touch it again. It's close. Oh man, that would have been nerve-wracking for some folks. Another 45 minutes of this just hovering right here. Some folks probably were getting out, taking the loss, whatever. And sure enough, here it goes. Moves on up again. And we'll make a new high in the day. Let's see, does this high is 1634.56, 1634.31. So this is a little bit of a lower high, barely. I mean, relative high and relative lows here once it got above that pivot. But we're almost to the end of the day. Yep, there we go, end of the day. So much smaller candle. We had, kind of these double retests going on, kind of triple if you count this one, but 1, 2, and then continue to have a move. If we look at the call, this is the 1650 call. I'm showing Friday's prices and today's just to show this wick here, that this actually came down to kind of the low that this held through here. Not sure if that would have been a price that somebody was looking to buy, but I do like to see an even 10. When you're at a strike and it gives you a $10 price, the low here is $9.85. No idea if this would have filled. I didn't trade any of this today, just recognizing the opportunity here. So, whenever you got a $10 option, it's just really easy to do the math on that kind of number. If you want to do 10 by 9, 10 by 8, whatever your risk is, it's just easy to deal with something in 10, multiples of 10 or whole number of 10, stuff like that. So if somebody had bought here, very quickly it got back up to the previous day's high, Friday's high, and then some. You could have gone from 10 to 20, potentially, doubling that option price. And then this pullback, so that secondary retest of 1591, initially we flashed down, and then we kind of, the option kind of got its wits about it and stayed up here instead. This was nearly a retest of this level. So now you're at, 12. You could be doing like 12 by 10 or 12 by 11, something like that here. And then it rallied up to, like 22. So this one you could have made, with, 12 by 11, that could have made you 1,000. That would have been 10R to do that. And then some other opportunities. This was that next retest that pulled back a little bit further. It held the highs on the stock, but didn't seem to hold them on the option. It pulled back further than this level and this level. It pulled back actually just about to the opens high, yeah. And then bounced, then pulled back again, and eventually, did this breakout thing. This would have been really nice here. The range on some of these is really small. Some of those small candles could have been taking that breakout, quick scalp, going from like, 2050 by 1950 up to, this high, 2350, 2250. That would have been 2-3R, something like that. And then this pullback had a really nice hammer here on the 5-minute, and it was a little bit too wide to set up with $100 risk. But the level it came down to, the low here is 1685, and it could have been buying 17 by 16, and that would have worked here. So there was the potential to have whole numbers, 17 by 16 be done here, 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 and then some of these didn't quite get as low as 17. But if you were here on this one, and then we're watching this form looking to go bullish, you could have adjusted your trade up a little bit. Maybe gotten in, 1750 by 1650, something like that. Because that would have held below here. Not this one anymore, but that would have rallied up to 22 again. So there are opportunities to get in multiple times in this going bullish. And likewise bearish. This is looking at the 1550 put expiring this Friday. We had the indecision count open, pulled back a little bit, made a lower low. And then from there, kind of consolidated, had some smaller candles here, and then broke out. And we broke out and went up to the high here about 17, just a little bit below, I guess $1 below, went up to 17, and this low is 18. So, came close to, this range, this low level from Friday with this rally today. And then, it just collapsed from there. So the rest of this wouldn't have been as doable. But I just want to show Friday's candle. This, let's see. So there was, yeah, some smaller ranges that moved, nothing really getting you too R. The bearish move really wasn't amounting to much, especially when we went to went up here, went with a bullish retest and just getting into those retests, allowing it to continue on bullish. And so that's what we'll continue to see here with this seemingly bullish rally that it's been a breakout. It should slow down a little bit. I don't know that we're quite there. I know our next line is 1665 and change, so that's kind of the next target I've got in mind. See if we can rally up to that, and then start to roll over, coming back into any of these levels, and then holding. That's the key. If we can rally a little bit more and then do kind of a bit of a pullback, that could be an S curve and could reverse and continue higher. Now, again, we're in somewhat of a downtrend on Amazon the last 3 months, wasn't it? Since October, I think. And so, we could just come up a little bit higher and then completely roll over and, lose any of these gains as well. So switching over to the daily, I didn't show you this yet, but I was just kind of trying to fit a line or a channel that could more or less accommodate some hits. So I drew it back to this, not to say that it has to do that, but when I drew it back to this one, I also noticed it was grabbing this price as well, this high, the all-time high, not this secondary high. But what I really liked about this level, and you can play around with the angle a little bit, but we're into indecision candle here, we're into the lows here, into the low here, into the low indecision candle here. And then where I dropped the upper end of the channel is through this point and the all-time high. And I know I'm only connecting 2 points on the top of this channel, but connecting these 4 on the bottom part of the channel, kind of helps me to figure where this really could go. So we're getting a third V bottom. We had 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. And the question is this more of a target, 1665 right here? So this level I've got is 1665.27. If we can get up to that and do some sort of indecision candle, we've got some other bearish ones here. What I'd be really curious to see is where we had bearish candles in here, if we get above those, it'd be similar to like this. And this, and I forgot to mention, sorry, this is connecting this point and this point, but we're actually touching right here as well. It's almost like this was the fluke. This was totally the false breakout, right back into the channel. And let me see if I zoom in on more of this just to show a little better. So I know this is a lot of lines, sorry about that, but we've got this other touch here. If we can do something similar where we take out bullish candle or bearish candles near the upper end of the range, taking out these, even taking out these, I mean, it's going to be easier to trap more bulls if and when it rolls over. So these bearish candles, we're going to run up into some of that resistance up here. And I mean, we could go past 1665, that'd be great. And if we took out the highs on these and this one, if we get into the next range, the low 1700s or mid 1700s, stuff like that, well, now we're making relative highs and lower lows, which is an inverted triangle. And so, if we do something like that, the high up here or wherever it is should hold as a high and be a great place of resistance. Now we'll have cleared these bearish candles, but there'll still be a lot of bears hopping in here thinking, okay, I'll let it go a little further and then we'll pounce and it'll roll back down. And the potential here is if we can get up to this level, we could totally roll down and be definitely into 1300, if this downtrend is set to continue. So we're really close to the upper end of this channel. It's something that, it'll probably push past slightly. Now, if we don't even get into it, that looks a little more bearish. But we've got a lot of bullishness that we've had in here. We've had a bullish gap and go here, inside candle, bullish retest, um, a little bit of a pullback, inside candle, bullish gap and go, and then bullish retest. So we got some of these bullish candles on the way up, and I didn't measure to see how quickly it went from here to here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, and we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're 9 candles. We've done the same number of days with a move higher from here to here as we've done from here to here. We had a really nice indecision candle here. It would be great to see this rally up into here and then roll back down and hold some new level that's kind of switching this round. So maybe it's an upward angle, and the low we'll see soon could be, around 1400 or so. So that's just kind of speculating where this could go, what it could do. We're just got to take one candle or one day at a time, one candle at a time, and continue watching the 5 minute. As I said, I did not trade today, so seeing some of these great opportunities I wish I had, but now I've learned, now I've recognized some more opportunities, and I can be better prepared for my next trade and my next setup. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.